Hey Bucket Busters! Throw down with NBA props on Thrive Fantasy. Compete for over $2,000 guaranteed in prizes daily. Use the code BUSTED when you sign up and receive an instant deposit match up to $50 with a minimum of a $20 deposit. Come prop up today. Now, here are the guys.
What's good, Bucket Busters? This is your host, Ro Zapanta, and this is my co-host, the glorious, the notorious Tim Johnson.
Rip City!
And this is the Busted Bucket Podcast, locally grown here in Portland, Oregon, the city of roses, the city of bridges, Stumptown, PDX. We are a show with no rules, just a couple of friends who so happen to love Portland basketball. Tim Johnson.
Yep.
How you living, my friend?
Glorious, man. It's the glorious, notorious pod, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. And you know, of course, we have our special guest, our returning guest, JJ from the Bay Area. JJ, how you living, my friend?
Living well, living good. Thank you for having me once again.
Yeah, of course, man. We just came from an all-star break, a very short break. It was Kevin Durant's team versus LeBron James' team, 150 to 170. LeBron came up on top. Tim, JJ, what did you guys think of that game?
Hey, man, it was a fun game to watch. I mean, I like what they're doing with the all-star games these days, right? Where they do it quarter by quarter. You know, the money they make goes to charities. It gives the players something to play for. It's so much better than what we were seeing in the early 2000s, bro. So much better. As far as what I saw, man, you got to give it up for Dame. You got to love that. He looked great.
Yeah,
He looked great, and you know, the ironic part is that, you know, the Blazer fans, they were upset that he wasn't a starter. But I was just thinking that if they actually had the chance, like if fans had the chance to vote for the MVP, Dame would have beat out the Greek Freak. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that
Yeah, maybe.
That a lot of people, at least, you know, the Twitter world and like, you know, just the general media, they were talking about how Damien Lillard seemed to be probably the one that wanted it the most out of everyone on the court. The Greek Freak made it look so natural because it's just the all-star game. He's the tallest dude on the court, so the basket's just right there. There's no defense being played.
He was
no one
also
plays defense.
16 for 16.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're like 7'1", 7'2", you better be 16 for 16 if no one's playing defense, right? At an all-star game?
Hey, there was some defense played. I will say there was some defense. But I'm just saying, man, he also was shooting threes, so 16 for 16 is pretty good. But
it's pretty good.
I will say,
it's pretty good.
When it came time to seal the deal and close the game out and win that money for the charity, who's the man they went to see? Damien Lillard. Because it's Dame time, baby. You can't stop it.
Yeah. I mean, the most surprising thing to me was, or rather the most fun thing to me, was to see Damian Lillard share the court with Steph Curry, but on the same side. JJ, being from the Bay Area, what did you think of that moment?
I mean, the Bay loves Dame. That's their own, right? Oaktown. Yeah. And I've never ever hear any slander about Dame over here, and it was just cool. Just like LeBron, you have Dame, you have Steph, and they all shared, you know, the court together on one team. So I thought that was really cool. I do want to be, you know, completely honest, and I was wondering why Dame pulled out from the 3-point contest when Steph was in it. How do you guys feel about that? Like,
I don't
as
know,
a fan?
man. Like, I would have loved to see that shootout,
man.
right?
I think we missed out on something great, especially since that first half of the All-Star game was basically just cooking that situation, cooking that contest, right? So that would have been awesome to have them just do a 3-point contest against each other, just because they were pretty much doing a 3-point contest during the game, you could almost say, right?
Oh, yeah. 100%,
Would you two agree that the 3-point contest, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Anthony, but the 3-point contest is more exciting than the dunk contest now? Are you there yet? There are a lot of, you know, sports
I mean, here's
people
the
out
thing,
there
man.
saying
Like,
that it's surpassed.
here's the
dunk
thing,
contest.
dude. The dunk contest has not been that exciting for years. I mean, all the dunks have been done, right? It's what it seems like. And I mean, yeah, there are some exciting moments, but for the most part, like, you're gonna see 1, 2, maybe 3 exciting dunks that maybe you haven't seen before. But for the most part, it's like, what's the next thing they're gonna jump over? How many people are they gonna try to jump over today? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's been done. And so I like the idea of it being during halftime of the All-Star game. But to answer your question about the 3-point contest being more exciting, I think it is, because it takes a little more skill to be a shooter. I mean, you got to be dialed in, right? And as far as the dunk contest goes, it's kind of more just on, I don't even want to say creativity anymore. It's more just athletic ability. And like we're watching Tatum draining these shots right now, but I mean, I don't think it gets any better as far as the contests go than the 3-point shootout.
Yeah.
Even with the skills challenge.
I'm going to kind of echo what you said and kind of go a little deeper. It's the fact that the 3-point contest, you could still do more stuff with that. Shooters are still getting better. And that's what we're seeing. I mean, they pulled up a 3-pointer, right? On the 3-point contest, they just made it a deeper 3. It made things a little more interesting. It added a little more spice to the contest. And the fact that shooters are getting better and better makes things more exciting. The thing with the slam dunk contest is that we've pretty much seen everything that can be done. Pretty much. But then again, we thought that happened with Vince Carter. And then years later, Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon probably had one of the best slam dunk contests, like head to head, that I have ever seen. Ever. I don't know if you guys feel that too, but JJ, what do you think of that?
Well, like, here's my thing. I'm gonna do the opposite take just for argument's sake. You always go on like House of Highlights and you see these unique dunks. Number one, so
True.
It's always being pushed. The art is always being pushed, and that's how it should be, right? Mm-hmm. But not even that. Like, when Kobe won the slam dunk contest, he didn't do anything too unique. But the fact that Kobe not only competed, but how he did it, because he looked so sick, dunking in between the legs. Yeah. People want to see Zion. We have yet to see LeBron.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you guys feel about the fact that we aren't seeing those like high caliber stars in the dunk contest?
Dude,
like,
I feel cheated. I feel 100% cheated. I mean, when I was a little kid, watching the slam dunk contest, the superstars do it.
Yeah, man.
Dude, it
like
was
you were seeing all the basketball heroes doing it.
Exactly.
Versus now it's like for the most part you get rooks.
Exactly. Like, no, I mean, not trying to throw shade, but none of these little kids in Portland are gonna go pick up an Anthony Simons jersey after that slam dunk contest. You know what I mean?
But if they saw few, right?
A select few, but I mean, like, if they saw Dame Lillard doing it.
Exactly.
Dude, that's something memorable for the fans.
Dame was in the dunk contest at one point.
Right, and people remember that, right?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if years later people are going to remember Anthony Simons, unless, he blows up.
I mean, they're probably going to refer to his dunk as the Manti Te'o dunk, kissing his fake girlfriend near the rim. But I'm just saying, get the stars in there.
They should get the stars in there.
And we'll watch, right? And
like, I don't even care. I want 40-year-old LeBron doing a dunk contest. Like, I want that to be the last thing he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to actually ask you guys. So the skills challenge happened. I don't even know who won. It's probably the least interesting competition in the All-Star game, in my opinion.
Wasn't it Mini Sabas?
Who?
Sabas Jr.?
I think so. I think it was. It was DeMontis. It was DeMontis Sabonis. I'm just being.
Yeah. No, I actually missed the I missed the skills challenge this year.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a contest that I look forward to seeing, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. Is there any way to save this challenge?
Yes.
Can you guys think of a way?
Okay, so I've thought about this all weekend and thinking like what you guys were saying, which is like back in the day when we got to watch our favorite players. One, if the NBA is all about the fans and they have a huge factor of like the starters, why don't we have the power of voting the participants for the skills challenge, the 3-point challenge, and the dunk contest?
Well,
that way, if people reject not playing, that's on them, and you're hurting your fans.
Here's my issue with fan voting though, because you're gonna end up in a situation where you're getting dudes voted in that haven't played all season or are injured. You know what I mean? Like
maybe.
You're gonna get. What's that?
I said maybe.
Dude, it happens all the time with the All-Stars, man. It happens all the time.
I think there's a way to filter it out, though. I think that's what they do with the All-Star game in general, right? And it would be a little interesting to see who people would want to see in the skills challenge. Like, if on the skills challenge, if they had, who was that really big dude on the Spurs? Boban?
Oh, Marjanovic, yeah.
Dude, if they had him on the skills
John Wick
challenge,
3, man.
I would 100% vote that full. If we did like an all big man,
dude, I would watch
slow
that.
Dude, that's what I'm saying, man. It would be interesting.
It would be. I think it would be hilarious, just straight comedy.
I like that idea. I think that fixes it. JJ, I think you just fixed the skills challenge.
That's just like when Howard Stern told people to vote out Clay, or what's that, Sanjaya from... People probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about, so I'll just stop there. But Howard Stern wanted to screw over American Idol.
Okay.
And he told all his fan base to vote for the weakest candidate, and he got through all the way to the finals.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, here's the thing though. Like if you do a skills challenge with all big men, there are actually some big men that would do really well. Like someone like Joker, right?
No,
like he would probably do really well.
I'm talking about the worst big men though. Like the
like you want to see
ones.
like or maybe just like the tallest, like Marjanovic versus Taco Fall or something.
Yes, well, and like bring in like old vets too. Like bring in Kendrick Perkins. Like see how he does on the skills challenge.
Just this is what I'm talking about with fan voting. The freedom is out there to pick the fan favorites, right?
Dude, if we had the opportunity to vote in past players, that would be amazing.
Like Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, like Kendrick Perkins.
I mean, I would never vote Kendrick Perkins for anything, but I would love to be able to do that.
Or Shaq in a 3-point contest. All right, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
It's getting out of hand.
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell.
Go.
No, but let me add one more thing though. Let me add one more thing for this. When I think of basketball skill, I always think who could play a dope one-on-one game. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've seen that one drill that Team USA does, which is it's one-on-one going up and down the court. And there's this clip that KG. So if you score, you stay on the court, and a new defender picks you up on half court, going back and forth.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh yeah, that's sort of like what do we used to play? King of the Court. King of the Court. Have you guys played that before?
It's kind of like King of the Court, but full court.
But full court,
man.
That's crazy, dude.
But
that's
full
awesome.
Court. So like KG starts on the top of the key. Kyrie's guarding him. KG scores, and then he runs it back to the other side after getting his own rebound, and then Vince Carter will pick him up.
That's crazy.
I dig it.
Yeah, that'd be really dope.
And I like Dame's chances.
Oh yeah.
That's true. I mean, they have to pick him up half court.
Yeah, that would be all skill.
Yeah, that would be all skill. I think we just
except for
the skills challenge. We just fixed the All-Star game, guys. I think that would be the perfect way to do it.
I think we just added a new wrinkle into the All-Star weekend.
It's true.
Hey,
I'm
NBA.
Yeah. Adam Silver, you listening?
Time to submit our letter to also the Players Union, who probably would shut this down so fast. Player empowerment. Speaking of player empowerment, JJ, did you have a question for us?
So I wanted to ask you guys, the pretenders versus like the real contenders of the league. And before All-Star break, we didn't get to talk about the pickup of Blake Griffin. So I just wanted to know from, you two, our host, how do you guys feel about the whole net situation? You know, we had KD recruiting Blake, and that story just came out today, and we never hear, you know, Dame recruit. Do you think Dame needs to go out of his way to do these deeds with other NBA superstars? Is that a weak move?
I think it's a punk move to try and recruit, but I mean, if people want to play with you, people want to play with you, right? Like, Dame didn't really have to recruit Melo. You know, I'm sure they were homies off the court, but I mean, Melo came here because of the culture that Dame cultivated, right? So, I think it's a punk move to go out there trying to poach people. Just my opinion, my 2 cents, I guess.
Man, you're gonna get some hate from the youngins, man. That's the way the NBA's done now. It's a business, man. And like, you think of these players, they consider themselves a business. They are the product, right?
Doesn't mean you're not a punk, and it's not a punk move.
Thing is that, like, I want to say that Dame Lillard is a likable guy. I want to say that. I want to say that CJ's a likable guy. Of course. They're old school. They're old school though. They're old souls, man. I don't think they recruit like the players do now, or maybe we just haven't seen the results yet. We haven't seen the results yet. Hopefully, what I'm thinking is maybe this year, maybe after the All-Star game, where literally the stars of the NBA saw how Dame Lillard carries himself, handles himself, performs in clutch time. That's what's going to recruit people. That's what's going to bring people.
See, to counter that, I would say that they already know how he carries himself. They already know how he closes games out. Like, they know this. They've been playing against the guy for 9 seasons? Come on.
Yeah, they have. But I think he's hitting a whole nother level. I don't think Dame Lillard has been top 3 in MVP talks before. Ever. I want to say ever. I don't know if that's accurate, but Dame Lillard is hitting another level. Absolute another level. Speaking of the Nets, though, go ahead.
Is it just Portland, though? Like, will you ever get a big market free agent?
I mean, I don't think so.
If Russ Westbrook could get PG to go to Oklahoma City, I would hope that we could do the same for Portland, because Portland is a way better city than Oklahoma. I've been there.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. Like, Portland is way better. And honestly, like, Blake Griffin, I think, was like a decent pickup for the Nets. But is he, like, are we sure he's good? Are we sure he's still good?
I mean, I think that the Nets are better because they have him.
Would you guys want him? That's the question.
At this juncture, yes. Yes. I would take him in a heartbeat.
Okay. So the reason why I say, is he good really, is because this is his stats this season.
Okay.
31.3 minutes a game, 12.3 points per game, a career low, 36.5 field goal percentage, which is second worst in the NBA, 31.5 for 3-point percentage, which is second worst in the NBA. This is the crazy one. He hasn't dunked a basketball since 2019. We're talking about in a game.
All right, but is this a product of his environment? You know what I mean? Like if you have an unhappy player, like, he's not going to give you his best ball. I want to see what happens with his first few games in Brooklyn.
JJ, would you want him?
With not his current contract for a buyout contract.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's true.
What did Draymond say? The league dynasties are built off of bad contracts. Jordan had a bad contract. Steph had a bad contract.
Yeah.
So not bad meaning bad, but bad meaning good for the franchise, right?
Yeah.
Cheap. So in terms of like the Nets, it's kind of concerning in terms of like the threat for the championship, because even without KD, they look pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a pretty deep squad, and I think that's the wrinkle. I don't think they're necessarily like a big four. that you would think traditionally of a big four, like Blake Griffin is the other superstar.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really cheap deal, a really good vet. I think that's what they got. But it's going to be really interesting. I think they have a game tomorrow, right? And I'm definitely going to be tuned in to watch.
So,
yeah.
Continuing on from the Nets, an up-and-coming team which has really made headlines are the Suns. So, contenders or not?
I mean, I think at this point you have to consider them contenders. I mean, they're pretty hot right now. What's their record? 25-11. What does that put them at, Ro? As far as in the Western Conference.
In the Western Conference, they are second. And we're actually going to review a game that just happened between the Blazers and the Suns. So JJ, I want to thank you for being on the pod, my friend.
Yes, thank you, JJ.
Thank you, JJ. I appreciate it, man. We're actually going to bring in Blazer Ben. Blazer Ben, how you doing, my friend?
Bingo, bango, bongo, baby.
Blazer Ben, what is up, my dude? Blazers just lost to the Suns 121-127. Ben, I'm going to kick it to you, my friend. What did you think of the game?
I thought it was a good game coming off the All-Star break, shaking off the rust. Unfortunately, we get one of the best in the West to start things off with. Booker coming off that knee injury. He didn't play in the All-Star game, so he was rested. He was ready to go. He started slow, but CP3 picked up where Devin Booker didn't. And then they both just, lit the fuel under the fire in the second half of the game. And they just took off. But we fought them. We fought them for 3 quarters. At the end of 3, we were up. Just couldn't hold it all the way to the end of the game. Booker just did his thing, and he elevated.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, what did you think of the game?
To echo Ben's statement, I thought it was a good game. I mean, through the first 3 quarters, it was great. I mean, the first quarter, the Blazers were unconscious beyond the arc. I mean, they were shooting near 50% from 3, which is ridiculous.
Right.
But, at times in this game, Phoenix played smothering D, and it was good, man. The thing that I noticed is that Phoenix plays fast. This game, Phoenix was playing fast, and they were killing us on the fast breaks.
Well, they started the game with a lob off of the tip. A lob to Ayton for a dunk. So,
Exactly. Speaking of Ayton, can I ask you guys where you thought he went this game? Because I didn't see much from him at all. And in fact, at times, I didn't even realize he was still playing.
DeAndre Ayton, I mean, his line, let's see here, 11 and 4 rebounds. Enes Kanter erased
Putting
him.
it down.
Enes Kanter erased him.
Enes was holding his own. And I've said before, the Blazers are going to have problems in the paint with teams that dominate the paint. And DeAndre Ayton, he can dominate the paint. And somehow, Enes Kanter pulled out some Turkish magic and dominated this fool. Dominated it. I loved it.
I loved it too. I mean, Enes Kanter has that old school nasty, 90s style.
I love it.
It's not impressive at all to watch it. It's just brute strength and a lot of basketball IQ. I love to see it. I mean, look at Enes Kanter's line. Let's look at this. It's 16 and 11. 16 and 11 with 6 offensive rebounds. That is offensive rebounds.
I mean, you may as well call them reborns.
Reborns. Enes Kanter reborn for sure.
Yeah, I thought Kanter played amazing. Dame played great. We've kind of been on the fence about Anthony Simons, right? He's shown flashes, but for the most part, he still looks young, unpolished. But I thought there were spots in this game where he played really well, and well enough to make me consider the fact that maybe he's not just a 2 guard. Maybe he can run the offense. I still don't think it's this year, but next year we might see a lot more from Ant, and I think that maybe his time at the All-Star break may have boosted his confidence a little bit, and
he's got to play with the confidence, man. Just to echo off that, I think it was a fourth quarter. He just let it go, and it got a turnover. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the fast-paced Suns came down real quick, and he blocked their shot, and it was a foul. And then he just sat under the hoop. He sat under the hoop. He banged his head against the stanchion a couple times. He's got to keep that confidence. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's going to drop a ball every now and again.
Yeah, but you like to see the emotion.
Head high.
I think you like to see the emotion.
Yeah, I think that'll come with more playing time. I mean, this kid is still only getting 16 minutes. I mean, in this game, he's gonna need more than that. We've had him for a while. I would like to see him get more looks that play to his strengths.
Yeah,
I think if you looked at Blazers Twitter, them looking at him dunking the basketball,
you gotta get him to the rim.
You gotta get him at least 1 or 2 dunks a game. How do you not get this guy 1 or 2 dunks a game? This guy's shooting 3-pointers at an unbelievable clip. I mean, at the All-Star break, I put out a tweet out there that said the last 22 of his 23 makes were 3-pointers, and he won the slam dunk contest. Something does not seem right there, right? That's not playing to his strengths.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving forward, what did you guys think of Damien Lillard's game? He had 30 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. I'm going to kick it to Blazer Ben.
I mean, Dame had a Dame-type game, The defense, they're figuring him out, I feel like. The doubles that come up. He passes it to Cantor in the middle of the lane, and then Cantor just looks left, right. He needs to just go to the hoop, get those 2 points. He's looking to pass it a majority of the time. Whether that stat's telling him to do that or not, he needs to take it in and get those 2 points. But Dame, he was consistent. He was good for the game. 30 points, can't beat that. 8 assists, distributing the ball. That's one of our Achilles' heels is distribution with assists. So moving the ball around was good for us.
I want to talk about our wings for a minute. We've got 2 guys that we brought in this season, right? Rocco and Derek Jones Jr.
Yeah.
And I've been super high on Derek Jones Jr. for the first half of the season. And I got to ask you guys, because I'm starting to believe you, Ro, that maybe we are seeing the best that Derek Jones has to offer. Do you guys think that we're going to see Derek Jones get to the next level? Because as excited as I was when he got here, I mean, I don't know if it's still helping the team what he's doing.
Here, I got you on that one. I got you.
To pair that with the fact that Rocco, hold on to that, Ben. Rocco is showing us exactly what we've been expecting all season.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick it.
What you're saying, Ben?
Yeah, I like to think that Derek Jones and Rocco do a lot of stuff that doesn't show up on the stats. You know, they've got the smothering defense that doesn't show up on the stats. They've got the wavering arms that deflect the ball. You don't see deflects in the stats, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Things that cause turnovers, you don't see stuff like that either. I think both of them are really stepping up second half, start of the second half here, a little bit before the All-Star game. They're coming into their own a little bit. Still got a little more growth to do, a little more gelling. But like I said, I feel like they're good on the defensive end for what we signed them up for. There is room to grow, absolutely. But like I said, they're just doing a lot of underappreciated work.
But my question to you is, do you think we're going to see Derek get to that next level? Is he going to hit that second gear?
Yeah, he's got to build an offensive game. He's cutting to the hoop. You hear the announcers, you hear Lamar Hurd all the time and stuff like that. They say, oh, they just missed Derek Jones cutting to the hoop. He's got those back cuts where he loses his defender. We had one this game where he had a massive dunk from that. If we can just see that, open up our eyes and catch him when he's cutting down that baseline, that'll just hopefully increase his offensive game tenfold. He's not too bad from the line, the 3-point line either. So, like I said, he's just got room to improve for this season. But I'm optimistic.
I think I'm sort of where Ben is. I think that Derek Jones Jr. might not be a lot better than what he is now, but I do think that offensively, Terry Stotts necessarily hasn't put him in places to succeed more. And I think
kind of the same situation with Ant, right?
Same exact situation. And you could actually see a lot of similar strengths between Ant and Derrick Jones Jr. I think what Stotts needs to do is bring the best out of those both players, because when they're cutting to the basket and they have an open lane and it's an open oop, like no one's gonna jump out of the gym like DJJ and Ant can. Like you can't get up there,
man.
You know?
When you yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, man. When you've got 2 slam dunk champions on the squad, you gotta play to that strength. You gotta have to.
Absolutely. And I think that's sort of where Derrick Jones Jr.'s wheelhouse will be. That's when we'll see him have the most success. It's just that I'm gonna maybe move on from this game and talk about something else, unless you guys want to stop me.
Well, I just want to say one more thing since we're talking about dunks.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you guys get as hyped as I did when Little dunked that?
Ooh, dude,
oh my
that was nice.
Lord.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was the best dunk of the night.
We could talk about Nasir Little a little bit. Go ahead. Ben.
I just want to reiterate one more thing on the game, like on your last pod with Big John, and how he said that you can't slide a piece of paper under Enes Kanter's feet. Man, definitely showed it this game.
He showed it.
Yeah,
he definitely showed it.
But yeah, as far as that Little dunk, man, that was fire. That energy he jumped, oof.
Yeah.
Like he jumped out of the gym and just threw it down. That was a good, oof, man.
Dude, also shout out to John and his daughter Olivia. I was watching the Blazer podcast. It's her 16th birthday today, so shout out to
Happy
Olivia
birthday.
Lukrafka. Thank you.
Our listeners don't know this, but Ro has a speech impediment. It only comes out when we're recording.
I know, right? Seriously. Anyway, so the reason why I talk about Derrick Jones Jr. and maybe we've seen the best of him is that there might be trade opportunities that have presented themselves recently. The big one that I'm talking about is Lamarcus Aldridge. So we're
Come
just gonna
home.
We're talking. I'm coming home, just like LeBron James. I'm coming home, Portland. We have a possibility to trade for him. I mean, the Spurs pretty much have said that they're likely looking for a trade partner. They don't want to do a buyout. So, I mean, if a buyout happens, that's like the most appealing option, right? Because we could sign that guy for $2.5 million, right?
Correct. Veteran minimum $2.5 million is way better than the $24 million he's due this year.
Amen. What do you guys think of a Lamarcus Aldridge return?
I mean, I think it would be amazing, but it would help us out tremendously. But the thing is, I don't think the Blazers are going to trade for that contract, because what you have to give up is you're not going to get enough in return. I think he would be a great addition. We're short, super shallow with our bigs right now. Mm-hmm. He would be great. And can you imagine the Dame and Lamarcus pick and roll? Come on. You can't tell me that wouldn't be beautiful basketball.
I don't have to imagine it because I've seen it before. And it was
Lamarcus
nice.
is 35 years old.
Yes.
35.
And this season, his numbers have dipped. I think he's averaging, maybe 14
season lows.
points.
Season
I mean,
lows.
he's career lows, you mean? He's averaging like 14 points, maybe 4.5 rebounds.
Points, 4.5 rebounds for Lamarcus.
But again, I'm gonna say it, like, it's a mutual thing that they both sides don't want him to be there, right? So the same thing with Blake Griffin, man. Like, are we really getting the best of Lamarcus right now?
Right. I'm gonna agree with Tim. I'm gonna say that, is what people are wondering is the juice worth the squeeze, right? If you're talking about vet minimum $2.5 million,
makes all the sense in the world.
Sign me up, dude. Can you imagine a starting squad of Dame, CJ, Gary Trent Jr., Lamarcus Aldridge, and Nurkic? And then off the bench, you still have Melo, you still have Rocco, you still have
even
Derrick
if you
Jones
continue
Jr.?
starting Rocco, people are focusing on the fact that he's not averaging as many rebounds as he used to. Think about pairing him with someone like Enes Kanter. Come on.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth the squeeze then. If you're gonna talk to me about trading Hood and trading Derrick Jones Jr., I might have to pause because I don't know if that's gonna be worth it.
Well, you think of it this way: it's going to give Rocco more burn. It's going to probably give Ant more burn. Maybe Gary. Well, Gary's getting his burn, but when CJ comes back, somebody's going to have to take a back seat, right? Like, are we in a situation where we have too much talent to put on the floor that maybe we need to condense what we have?
He's a horrible defender. Horrible defender.
I wouldn't call him a
Imagine him
horrible
out there
defender,
with Cantor and Melo and Lamarcus. We're just going to get blown by all day long.
That's also true.
That is a fair point.
That's a fair point.
And that's three bigs that need to be able to defend the arc, the 3-point arc. Because, in today's age, small forwards, power forwards, even some centers, they're shooting threes. We get out there guarding them.
Yeah, but you're gonna have that with anybody you put on the floor. I mean, dude, right now all we have is Rocco, right?
Right.
Are you telling me that
DJ?
Nurk is going to be able to defend the arc?
DJ?
Yeah, sure, DJ. But DJ seems to be playing the 3 more often than not. But I'm just saying, like the point that you just made, it's like we're going to have that issue with any of our bigs anyway. So why not bring in someone that can at least get you a guaranteed 14 points off the bench? Lamarcus is an excellent spot-up shooter. Excellent. You're not getting that from Derrick Jones Jr.
I will say that Lamarcus Aldridge also occupies a different space on the offense that we don't necessarily have. Someone who could really bang down low, and someone who could also do a post-up game.
Yes.
He's really savvy on pick and rolls. I mean, and he spent a lot of time with in Popovich's offense, which I think is really key to someone's development, especially when it comes to playmaking. I think he's a better playmaker than he used to be, especially on Portland, because, I mean, he was being coached by Nate McMillan. Everyone knows that those decisions weren't very hard.
They ran 3 plays.
Yep, they basically ran 3 plays. He's coming from Pop's system, so I think his basketball IQ would be a little better than people that might be running pick and pop with Dame currently.
Here's the one thing that I like about this situation is that you bring Lamarcus to the team and he adds another dimension to the game plan, right? He's someone that can slow the pace of play, which is something that Portland isn't very good at the moment. And if you're able to change the pace of play, you continue to get the opposing team, you catch them off guard, right? So you get Lamarcus on the team who can back his way down to the basket and more often than not get you 2 points. Or he can hit the screen with Dame or CJ and pop in a bucket, man. To me, it's a no-brainer if it's a buyout situation. I think you're right with the trade. If it's a trade situation, then we're in a serious dilemma because who do you have to give up to get Lamarcus, who, to Ben's point, is underperforming at this state?
Ben,
right? Like where's the trade-off here? How's it gonna make sense? That's the real dilemma.
Ben, would you go Rodney Hood, Derrick Jones Jr. for Aldridge?
Man. No, I wouldn't.
Would you go?
I mean,
go ahead.
I don't like Hood's play, but he's coming off a pretty detrimental injury last year, so it's going to take him a little back to get back in the swing of things. And I feel like Derrick Jones just has upside to go, and bringing in old man Aldridge.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I like that you guys are discussing this and you guys are on opposite sides because I feel like the pulse of Blazers fans is literally split on whether or not we should get Lamarcus Aldridge. And, we'll see what happens. Another person who we could possibly get who has become available is Otto Porter. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on this man. But
he's a 3, right?
Yeah, Yeah, he's a 3. He's a wing player. We have a lot of wings. He'd be another one to add onto that. And apparently the Blazers have wanted Otto Porter Jr. For a while. Do you guys have an opinion on this at all?
Yeah, let me start that. He would have to be a buyout sign because he's making $30 million this year. $30 million.
It's a lot.
That's Dame and CJ money. We can't bring that on.
I mean, here's the thing: the Blazers don't have a lot of money to bring anybody on right now.
Nah.
Right.
No money. I mean, Otto Porter, he's coming off an injury too. He had back spasms this season. He's missed 15 games for that. He's coming back. Actually, he's coming back. I think it was tonight or tomorrow night. Will be their first game back. So,
I think what Blazer fans need to know is that any trade situation that comes about in the next couple weeks, because the trade deadline is in a couple weeks, or maybe less than. Every trade is going to start with Rodney Hood's money. That's literally the piece that we have to start with because he's owed, I think, like 10 to 11 million. Mm-hmm. So he's the piece to start with, and then you need to add whatever pieces after that, whether that be a Rocco, whether that be a Derrick Jones Jr., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So,
and I think the Blazers can afford that, to be honest.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me, which is fine, but I'm going to tell you anyway that I would probably do that trade.
Deal.
Because
deal.
I mean, for the reason that you have many other players that can fill Rodney Hood's position and his role. Mm-hmm. You bring in Aldridge, you have guys you can slide over to fill Derrick's role.
Right.
Rodney and Jones for Porter wouldn't work. Money's not there. We're 10 million off. 10 million off. Yeah. The ESPN trade machine says this trade has failed.
We'd have to add a lot more to get 30 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd have to add a lot more.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's also young. He's younger, He's a lot younger than Lamarcus is. Otto Porter's only 27. So, I feel like he'd gel well with us, playing that 3/4 position, which we always lack in. So, I would love to see Otto Porter Jr. in a Blazer uniform.
Yeah, I think as long as he's not cutting any minutes from Gary Trent Jr., I think that's my caveat. As long as Gary Trent gets his play and gets his development, I think I'm okay with having Otto Porter Jr.
I think once CJ comes back, GT's going to go to the bench, though, isn't he?
Well, here's the thing. I was just going to say, I think the tough spot that we're in is we don't know what the team looks like with CJ back yet. And if CJ is back, I mean, how probable is it that Gary gets slid to the 3? I mean, we'd be undersized, but the dude is a dog on the court. And we don't get that bench, from anyone else.
Now, watching this Phoenix game, the second unit was very stagnant. Really a lot of just dribble down and play by yourself. There was no movement, no actual plays. Whether it's, Melo backing down a player or Simon's trying to create for himself. It just felt stagnant and there wasn't really much there. I feel like Trent would be a huge contributor to that second unit. And he can finish the game too, so he can get 20 plus minutes a night, still play in the crunch time minutes and also have a great effect for the second unit. And so that we don't get down.
Yeah, I think I'm with Ben on that one. I think having Gary Trent Jr. as the closing 5 would be important at the 3, right? Is that what we're saying? Is Dame Lillard at the 1, CJ at the 2, Gary Trent Jr. at the 3 for the closing, and I think that would be great. I mean, I would love to see that. I think it's very interesting that we have help coming. It's amazing. We are looking at this team. Where are we sitting right now? We're sitting 6th.
I believe so.
I think the Nuggets just passed us.
We're sitting 6th right now without CJ, without Nurkic. Help is coming. I mean, who would have known what our record would be if we had a full squad right now? And there's no better time to find out than the second half of the season going into the playoffs. Moving on to our next topic, this is kind of a how do I word this? It's a very hot debate, actually, in Blazers Twitter.
Okay.
The gray Nike earned jerseys.
Yeah.
People are so hot and cold on this topic. I need to know.
It felt like I was looking at the Spurs.
Do you guys
think... No. I kept getting confused. I was like, is this Spurs? I was like, no, this isn't the Spurs. This is the Blazers.
Right. Tim, what's your take, man?
Dude, I'm not a fan. But here's the thing, though. I would get one just because I've never seen a Blazers uniform like this, right? But at the same time, like, I feel like I'm watching an episode of Perry Mason playing basketball, right? Like, it's
yeah.
We need a touch of color.
It leaves a lot to be desired, you know. Like at least, like, if they were gonna go with the grayed out version, this muted version, like, throw in some red, man. Give us a red stripe or something.
Agreed.
Give us some pop of color.
Agreed. They need to hit up our boy Evan M, though. They need to see his art.
Evan
man.
M, or shoot, we'll plug Graphletics again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, any of those fools would have probably designed a jersey better than that. They literally look like they just hit grayscale.
For real. Yeah.
Like
they were just
like
looking
fire.
At. They were just
that's
looking
a
at
fire jersey.
They were looking at a jersey through their iPhone, just going through the filters.
Black and
on
white.
Snapchat
what?
or something.
Definitely. You know, our last topic here, we're gonna talk about Damien Lillard, of course, shutting down rumors about him moving to a bigger market during the All-Star break, or him moving to a bigger market. He discussed this during the All-Star break. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought about what he said. Tim, I'm gonna kick it to you, man.
I mean, this is what makes Dame so cool, right? Like, he's not about selling out just to go chase that ring, right? I mean, but you know, in reading his statement, it's like it really gives you perspective on who he is as a person, because this guy is wise beyond his years, right? And the thing is, he's been this way ever since Portland found out about him, right? Like, he's always been this kind of guy, and you know, I think Portland is dang lucky that Dame is on the team, because dude, we haven't had a player like this since I don't even know. The guy is loyal to the soil, man.
Yeah, Blazer Ben, what did you think about what he said?
I'm just going to read the quote, if that's cool with you.
Yeah,
you know?
Go for it, man. Go for it.
This is in Dame's words, quote, "I think for every person that says, you know, I want to see him on the big stage and I want to see him go to a bigger market and all these things, of course, those things have pros, but nobody ever wants to think about the cons," Lillard said. "If you take that step and it's not what it seems to be and it doesn't work out, or an injury happens and you haven't established as much of a rapport with that team and they chose one guy over the next guy and now you're traded to a third team, things can fall apart. That may never happen, but it's just a lot of things you can't control." And I think the way, end quote, mind you, the part where he says it's just a lot of things you can't control. I mean, say you get traded, say Dame got traded to the Lakers, you know, 5 games in, he busts his knee, you know, then what are the Lakers fans going to do? They're going to be on the hater train for Dame. You know, be like, why did we just waste our time trying to do this?
And money, because you know Dame's going to command a lot of money.
But that too, you know, but if Dame gets a knee injury here in Portland, we know he's going to, you know, rehab, get back to better, hopefully, you know, get back to Dame time, what we know about. And we're not going to give up on him. Like, if he were to go to a new team, like he says, there's no rapport there. They have no loyalty to him, you know?
Right.
Tim?
What
you think, Tim?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I told you what I think. I mean, of course, I give you props for everything you just said.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to sort of echo what you guys have been saying. I mean, Damian Lillard, the thing that I appreciate about this is that his approaching being a basketball star as if he was a fan when he was little. You know what I mean? He's definitely someone that never wanted to see his favorite player leave his team and go somewhere else and win a chip. he understands like how important it is for superstars to stay in their hometown and to be loyal. And I think to us, being old basketball heads like we are, right? We could truly appreciate that because we're old heads, man. We're old heads. We like that loyalty stuff. We like that old 90s basketball too, where it's a little grimy. And Dame Lillard definitely has that, like, I'm gonna say it, that Mamba mentality. And I don't think anyone else in the NBA right now has that.
Yeah, I mean,
some people could say LeBron James, but I mean, the way that Lillard carries himself is completely different than any other superstar right now.
But yeah, I mean, we grew up at the time where the players played on their teams. Reggie Miller played with the Pacers. Hakeem Olajuwon played his entire life with the Houston Rockets. And then he played his final season with the Toronto Raptors. Does anybody remember that? No. Nobody remembers that. Patrick Ewing plays with the Knicks, I think he ends his career with the Magic, I think. Nobody remembers that.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, you think about all these players and you associate them with the same team. Like growing up, of course you had dreams of making it to the NBA, right? Did you ever think about playing for 2, 3, 4, 5 different teams? No. You thought about playing for your home team.
Right.
End of story. Right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Dame is bringing that to the forefront and showing us that it's possible for these players to still stay loyal to one team and give everything you got for this one team. And the fact that he said multiple times that, hey, man, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. At least I gave everything I got to the people that took a chance on me. Like, that means everything for me as a fan.
Yeah, and, last week, after interviewing Big John, Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo called me, and they were like, hey, I want you to come to the Ringer. And I was like, nah, dog, I can't. I'm too loyal to the soil. I'm going to stick with the busted bucket. Anyway, with that being said, that's the end of the pod. Ben, thank you again for coming on, my friend. RJ, our video producer, thank you for getting our video, making everything silky smooth. And our last thank you goes to our fans. Whenever we're on Twitter, whenever we're watching games, you guys are always responsive. You make things so easy on us. Tim, what you got to say?
Well, first, I got to say, don't forget we have a giveaway contest going on right now for a dope Dame art print. You still have just over a week to enter the contest by leaving a reply to our tweet, Facebook post, or review on our Apple Podcast page with the story of how you became a fan of the Portland Trailblazers. Do it anytime between now and about a week and a half from now, and you're in. It's a random drawing, but we'll get it to you. That's it for this episode. Don't forget to rate, follow, and subscribe if you're digging what we're saying. Stay safe out there, Rip City. We'll catch you next time on the Busted Bucket Podcast. Thanks for listening.